Your Honor,
You would let your husband have sex with your daughter.
No.
And your defense is it was consensual.
Please, God. Judge. Please don't do this to us.
I'll be back soon.
My father shot my mother, and then he shot himself.
In this case, the plaintiff Sally Giles says that the defendant, her daughter Christina Cross, made her life difficult and is suing her for a credit card bill. Christina claims that her stepfather molested her repeatedly and is countersuing her mother for causing her emotional distress. The mother says,
Christina's my daughter. I have made her entitled. I've given her everything she wanted and even things she
She
didn't
give you
want.
everything you required?
you can feel her grieve. Judge Mathis asks a very empathetic question, and the response is truly heartbreaking.
Which I always suggest is good behavior and success in school, or at least a commitment to success in school. Did she meet her part of the bargain?
No, sir, she did not.
Okay, go ahead.
She further states that her daughter Christina has put her through a lot of abuse since she was age 13. It was unfortunate to hear her testimony.
Well, she would hit people. She hit a bus driver. I would be called to school all the time because of acting out in school. She was running away. She was skipping school. They put her in a lockdown school.
Judge Mathis tries to infer if her upbringing was harsh or traumatic, but the mother denied. It was further revealed that she also physically abused her husband.
She abused her first husband.
What'd she do to him?
She threw a metal phone book at him and it sliced his face open, and he called me and told me to please come over. And when I got there, there was blood running down his face.
Sounds horrifying. But now let's listen to her part of the story as well. She accused her mother of being negligent.
Your Honor, from the time that I was little, my mom was a partier. She would go to the bar 3-4 times a week.
Okay, that's what it
I
was.
was mostly left home to raise my brother.
Man, that is harsh. There is ample evidence and research that confirms that people who were emotionally neglected as children grow up to be adults who must deal with the consequences. And because their emotional needs weren't validated as children, they may not know how to deal with their emotions when they occur. The most common effects of childhood neglect in adulthood may include post-traumatic stress disorder, which might explain why she behaved the way she did. She also revealed this.
She would bring different men into the house.
I never want to dismiss the claims of a survivor of sexual abuse, so I'm inclined to believe her. What she confesses next sent chills down my spine.
I watched her get hung over the Grand Canyon and a knife held to her throat, saying that if she didn't have sex in front of the kids, that he would kill her. There was a lot of things going on.
No child must have to witness these. And if being abused by her mother's boyfriends weren't enough, she also testified, saying that her stepfather molested her.
Upon doing that, my stepdad, whom she is still currently married to, started molesting me. I did start acting
At
out
13?
in school. Yes, at 13, sir.
Makes sense now.
I did start acting out in school.
What did her mother do when she found out about it?
Called me a liar, told all my family that I was lying. She shunned me away. I ended up running away at the age of 15. I met my first husband, who was in the military. I got married at the age of 16. She signed off on all of her rights and let me get married at the age of 16.
That is not how a supportive parent would behave. Being abused is hard enough, and having your own family not believe you, that betrayal can be as painful as the abuse itself. Her mother then says that her husband entered into some sort of agreement to have a sexual affair with Christina. I mean, what?
Because he's 80 years old and doesn't have a brain.
And you still with
Yeah,
him?
he's here.
Your Honor,
You would let your husband have sex with your daughter.
No.
And your defense is it was consensual.
The excuses? Pathetic. She kept denying her truth, and Judge Mathis got furious.
He raped her
He didn't
for
rape her.
many years as a child.
said that. It
Oh,
was a
didn't
lie.
happen? It didn't happen?
She said
All
that
right,
about many
all right.
men.
So let me tell you what you said. At first, it never happened. And when it did happen, it was consensual. Either way, you have a husband that you know raped your daughter.
Christina then submitted to the court evidence that proved a gut-wrenching truth.
I told you if you ever messed around on me again, this was going to happen. And to do it to Christina again, after she has fought her feelings about what you have already done to her,
This means that her mother knew all along what was happening and yet kept defending the man. I simply cannot understand why she would choose that pig over her own kid. Judge Mathis did not let her off easy.
Now that I have the truth and I am going to determine that you have perjured yourself, I'm going to dismiss your claim and I'm going to grant her hers because you've perjured yourself very clearly. Have a good day. You and the molester can get out of my courtroom.
The way Christina broke down shook me. You can tell she finally must have found some relief when the court chose to believe her. This case just confirms the saying, every child deserves a parent, but not every parent deserves a child. In this case, Rosemary Green, the plaintiff, lost her son Darian to suicide. The defendant Tiffany claims that Darian fathered her child. Rosemary says that her son's death left her shattered. She moved far away to be alone.
I actually moved to the state of Georgia because I wanted to be somewhere where no one knew me, knew my situation,
Why?
my life experience, to just be somewhere where it's just myself, my husband, and my children.
It must have been hard. She says that Tiffany contacted her on the day she was driving her son to Iowa for what could have been his 22nd birthday.
Out of nowhere, I get a message in my inbox from this young lady, Tiffany, stating that she had reason to believe that my son fathered her child. So the first thing is, wait a minute now, are you sure?
She broke down, expressing how the child renewed her hope in life.
I might be able to live. That
She has been let down by her own family so many times that she wants to be 100% sure that the child is her grandson. Or else she is scared that she might get attached for no reason, and like all her previous attachments, this would end up causing her immeasurable pain. Tiffany confesses that she is in an on and off relationship with Darian since 15. At the time of the child's conception, she was also seeing another man, but the DNA test confirmed that he wasn't the father.
So then, when I was 7 months pregnant, Darian passed away. So in March, when we got the results back that the person I was seeing wasn't my child's father, I did message Rose and I told her that I thought Darian was my son's dad.
Judge Mathis then finally got the paternity results. But for the first time, he took some time to gather himself, gain composure before delivering the results. It shows the extent to which he was emotionally impacted.
Please, God. Dad. Please don't do this to us.
I'll be back soon.
The gentle empathy with which he spoke, his vulnerability, shows what a truly compassionate man he is.
Well, young lady, you said you hadn't been with anyone else. And it's obvious that you were dishonest about that. And you were dishonest about...
I really wanted the child to be Darian's. It's sad because Rosemary was already so fond of the child, it could almost fill the void her son left. He pledged grief counseling resources to both the families. He did not just pray for them, he prayed with them. He truly set an extraordinary example.
Dear God, forgive me of my sins. Cleanse my heart so that you'll accept my prayer. We come to you asking for healing of the heart. We know if they put their hands in your hands, we ask that you'll allow the counseling to be productive.
This is by far the most emotionally charged case I've ever seen on reality television. Moving on, this case made me want to run to my mother and give her a warm, tight hug. I am warning you to keep a box of tissues ready. Plaintiff Maria Luckett says that when she was 13 years of age, she gave birth to a baby girl, but was forced to give her up for adoption. Years later, she made contact with Coetha Drayton, who she believes is her long-lost daughter. Will the paternity results prove the same? Let's dive in.
But I celebrate her birthday every year. I've been celebrating her birthday the last 42 years. And she's my only child. I don't have any more kids.
That's so heartwarming and emotional. Turns out Coetha contacted her one day and she immediately knew she was her daughter. Well, what can you say? A mother's heart, right?
And she contacted my cousin on Facebook because she lives in Dallas, Texas. I live in Indianapolis, Indiana. she contacted my cousin and stated that she was adopted at the age of 3, and that she think that I was her mother. So I called the number and told her my name, and I asked her birthday, and she said, April 15, 1977. And I knew then that she was my daughter.
Coetha had her own share of trauma. The family who adopted her was a mess.
When I turned 10, I lost my parents.
How?
My father shot my mother, and then he shot himself.
Gosh, that is devastating. She then had to fend for herself and take up odd jobs to survive. It was only when she turned legal that she started searching for her biological mother. But even there, she met with disappointing results initially.
When I turned 18, I started looking for her. I had paid a detective like $500 to find her, but he only came back and told me stuff that I already knew. There was no name that came with it, so he was like, if you give me $5,000, I can find her. And I'm like, I'm not giving you that type of money. I'll just look for her myself.
She took it upon herself to find her mother.
Just went on to a different adoption sites that I would find, putting my name out there in the year I was born. And then in 2017, my cousin called me to let me know that then Governor Pence had made it to where we could have access to our medical record, fill out the paperwork for me to get my adoption records.
And that's how she contacted her. What they revealed here was freaky. It really makes you wonder how the universe works.
Always right there the whole time.
We was going to the same beautician. She goes skating, I was going skating on Sunday night.
Both of you were going to the same skating rink on the same night?
Yeah.
And both going to the same hairdresser.
Damn, so close. All that time. I don't know if you've noticed this, but both of them mirror each other so perfectly. Maria has been so alone her entire life that when she says this, you really can't help but pray that Coetha really does turn out to be her daughter.
If this is my child, will you please send me out there for Christmas and meet my kids?
Yep.
Maria then showed pictures of her mother to Judge Mathis, saying that she looks exactly like Coetha.
Sure does. And you.
Yeah.
And you.
You really have to have a heart of stone to not find this moment emotional. Judge Mathis then declared the results.
Give your mama a hug. Here goes
Baby, I love you so much.
This moment definitely called for a celebration. What a powerful reunion. It made me cry tears of happiness.